welcome to this prenatal class. This class is designed to prepare the body for your birthing time. So we're going to look at creating space in the pelvis and moving your baby into the optimal position for labour. Let's get started with a little bit of breathing. So first thing that you want to do is sit up onto something so that the back of your pelvis is raised higher than the front. So that might be a cushion, it might be a little bolster if you have one, or a cork block. And you want to make sure that the hip bones are facing either down optimally or straight forwards, but they're never facing up towards the sky. So if you had two little headlights coming straight out of your hip bones, they're not going to be going forwards, they're going to be going slightly down. And you want to raise your bottom enough that that's happening. That's just going to allow for that little forward tilt. It's going to take pressure off the low back, but it's also encouraging your baby into the optimal position for birth. So once you're sitting here, we're going to roll the shoulders down our back and take our hands into the lap. Right hand at the bottom, left hand on top, two thumb tips touching. And we're going to drop our chin towards the front of the throat and close the eyes. First few breaths, just letting yourself arrive onto your mat. Letting go of whatever's happened in your day up until this point. And just asking yourself the question, how is my body feeling right now? Where are the places that feel really good in the body? And where are the places that need a little bit more attention right now? So we're really just taking inventory of the body before we start to move, gathering information that we can use as we move through the class. Maybe you've noticed that you're feeling really tired right now, and then you're going to take it a little bit easier during class today. Or maybe you have oodles of energy right now, and then today might be a day that you challenge yourself. So coming back to the breath, breathing in through the nose, and out through the nose. And if you're towards the end of your pregnancy and breathing through the nose is tough, by all means breathe in through the mouth. Today we're going to do a breath practice that just helps you to balance the body, balance the emotions. So we're going to breathe in for a slow count of 4. And then breathe out for a slow count of 4. So your inhale is matching your exhale. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you continue to breathe like this, just trying to soften into any places in the body that feel tight or tender. Paying special attention to the shoulders, to the low back, to the lower jaw, to the hips and the knees. Just one more breath here. And then coming back to whatever your normal pattern of breathing is, whatever feels comfortable for you. And noticing if you feel any different now than when you first sat down on the mat. We're going to keep our eyes closed, bring the palms of the hands to touch in front of the chest in Namaste. I'm going to rub the hands, just building a little bit of heat, a little bit of energy into the hands, signaling to the nervous system that we're coming towards movement. And then each warm hand over each eye. Blinking your eyes open into the darkness of the hands. Take a big inhale, growing taller through the length of the spine. And then exhale, release your hands down into your lap, coming back into the room. Okay, so most of us, whether we're pregnant or not, tend to have tightness in our shoulders, in our upper back and in our neck. So we're going to start with a little bit of a warm up for them. So chin is dropping to the chest, interlink the fingers, hands onto the back of the head. Push the head into the hands and inhale and open up to the sky. 2 breaths here, drawing the shoulder blades back. So just trying to stretch into that front body, creating a little bit more space for your baby to grow into. And now we're going to take our right elbow down to the side and look up at the left. Try and draw those shoulders back, opening the elbows wide. And then push down into the base of the pelvis and inhale back up. When you get to the center, drop your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, take it to the other side, looking up, shoulders down. And then inhaling all the way back up. Now we're going to take our hands out to the side and we're going to spread the fingers really wide. Try and bring the elbows up at shoulder height, and we're going to inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to bring the hands down so that the palms face back. So inhale, opening. Exhale, closing. And again, inhale, opening. And exhale, closing. One more time. And then release. And just give the shoulders a lovely roll towards the back of the room. So we always roll backwards so that we're counterbalancing that slump that tends to happen through the day as we're sitting, or if we're lifting and carrying babies or holding little ones. Even just as our bellies and our breasts get bigger, we get pulled forwards into this slump. So that rounding backwards makes a lot of sense. So now we're going to do a little sequence that's going to help strengthen and tone the arms. And that'll just prepare your arms to be nice and strong to cradle your little one when they're born, or to support you in whatever position you choose to birth in. So we're going to take our hands down to the sides. And as we inhale, we're going to turn the palms out and reach them all the way up overhead until the fingertips touch. As we exhale, we turn them away, palms facing out, fingers come down. So inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. One more time. So we're creating space in the side body here too. Now we're going to bring the hands round the front, and as we inhale, we're going to reach them up overhead, and exhale, reach the fingertips down towards the ankles. So inhaling, front body stretches. Exhaling, reaching forwards as if you're trying to grow the fingernails towards the front of the room. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. And now we bring the hands out in front, palms together. And as we inhale, we bring the hands down and we look up. And as we exhale, we bring the backs of the hands together, rounding the spine. So inhaling, arching the spine, hands come back wide. Exhale, backs of the hands come together, rounding the spine, broadening the shoulders. Inhale. And exhale. So we're getting a little bit of pelvic tilting here too. And that's really good for strengthening the pelvic ligaments and preparing them for your birthing time. And all these tilting, rocking poses are great for positioning your baby. And the last one. And then coming back to the center and place your hands on your knees. Just change the cross of your legs, so whichever leg was on top or in front, change it round now. Hands come to the knees and we're going to take circles. So we start with these circles, guiding them from the navel center, just little small ones. Feel into the low back, into the hips, into the pelvis. Notice how it's feeling for you. And if that feels good, you can take it deeper, so shoulder towards the knee, all the way around. Inhale to get length and exhale back round again. So circling are one of the things that we do to encourage our babies into an optimal position. They really help when our baby's head's down to just massage out the cervix and help prepare the body for labour. And they feel really good in the low back as well. Last one. And then coming all the way back to the centre. So from here we're going to take a little forward bend, hands to the side. Inhale all the way up. And as we exhale, pull your belly back in and fold forwards till your spine stays straight. When your back wants to round, you drop your hands, and you might be up on the fingertips to create space in the line of the front of the body, especially if you're in the third trimester. As you inhale, scoop the body forwards as if you're trying to send your heart forwards to the front of the room. And then you can exhale and fold the elbows down. And we're just going to move here, so we're going to inhale, lengthen up, exhale, fold back down. And yours might look much smaller. It might be something like this. And that's totally fine. You just see how much space you have in your body and what feels good. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. And then rolling all the way back up. We're going to stretch those legs out now. Get a little bit of circulation down into them. Again, you want to sit up on something and make sure that there's that forward tilt in your pelvis. Hands just come in between your legs to start with, and we're just going to circle from the ankles. So we move from the joint of the ankle, not from the toes, flushing as much blood flow up the legs into the womb space as possible. So we're just flushing that whole area with lovely oxygen-rich blood. And we come back to the center, and now point and flex the toes. Keep the spine nice and tall, try and keep the shoulders down the back. And then turn them side to side. So just internal and external rotation of those hips. So we get a little bit more movement and suppleness in the hips themselves. And then we sit up nice and tall. So you're going to take your hands and roll the flesh of the buttocks out. So there's a slight internal rotation on the legs here. We're sitting up really nice and tall. We're going to take our hands, interlink the fingers and reach all the way up. So now we're going to push down into the base of the pelvis and just create some space in the sides of the body. So that place between the pelvis and the rib cage, just lengthening here. Then we're going to push away through the heels and exhale, fold to one side, looking down. Push down into the pelvis, inhale, lengthen the spine, drop the shoulders, exhale, other side. Inhaling up, exhaling down, inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling up, exhale down through the center, push away, lengthen the chest through the bridge of your arms, push through the heels, and then we're going to just sway from side to side with the arms here. Nice, deep, slow breaths. So there's a sense of trying to move forwards with the chest, towards the hands, towards the toes, but we're keeping that nice long line in the spine. And then slowly coming all the way back up, reach up one more time, and then exhale, spread the hands and come down. Slowly drag the heels back, and we'll bring the soles of the feet together. So we're going to come into Cobblers pose. This is kind of the queen pose of fertility and pregnancy and birth. So really good for bringing fresh blood flow to the whole pelvic floor area. Obviously we're creating space in the pelvis, external hip rotation, so we're opening the outer hips and we're opening into the groin as well. So it's a really, really lovely one. We're going to start by bringing the balls of the feet together, and the depth between your heel and your pubic bone is just going to depend on how tight you feel in your hips. If your knees are floating very, very high up in the air, just slide your heels further away. If this feels really comfortable for you, slide the heels a little bit closer. If you have any SBD pain, any pain down the center of the pelvis, for this one your heel's going to be way out in front and it's just going to be like an elongated diamond. So to start with, push the balls of the feet in together, push your hands down and get some length, shoulders down the back. And we're going to begin by just bringing the knees up and in and down and out. So inhaling up like a butterfly's wings, exhale down. So the groin is a bit of a shy muscle, and if we go straight for a really deep stretch, it tends to seize up. So what we want to do is just release it nice and deep. We just ease into it first, and then when we come to the deeper opening, that groin just goes, okay. So now we're going to go towards that deeper opening. If you have yoga bricks, great, you can pop one under each knee. If not, you just pop a cushion under each knee or a bolster or something that you have to hand, and that'll allow your knees to rest into some support and open deeper. If you don't happen to have anything to hand, don't worry about it. Just allow them to be floating. From here, you're going to grab onto your knees, your calves or your ankles, wherever you can reach, and then pull your spine up nice and tall, and imagine you're trying to send your chest towards the room in front of you. Inhale. And as you exhale, fold down and place the elbows on top of the knees, and you're just going to stay here. So you're long in the spine, looking forwards, and you're just breathing. Excuse me, 2 more breaths. And then rolling all the way back up. Lift the knees up, so hands under the knees, lift them up and stretch them to straighten, flex and point a couple of times. And then bend the knees up, and we're going to come around. So if you happen to have 2 bricks handy near you, you're going to place them at the top of your mat. You can use soup cans instead, or you can do it without any aids at all. We'll give you all options. So to start with, wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and we're going to take cat-cow. So tops of the feet on the floor. We're going to inhale, arch the spine just a little for pregnancy cat-cow, and then take your chest forwards, tailbone back, shoulders down the back. Use your feet and hands. As you exhale now, tuck the tailbone under, push up out of the hands, take your chin to chest and broaden that space between the shoulder blades, letting the head hang. So inhale, slight arch, lengthening. Exhale, big rounding, pulling your belly up towards your spine. Inhaling. Exhaling. So again, you're getting those lovely pelvic tilts, and we're bringing suppleness to the spine here. Also a really good immune booster. One more time. From here, we're going to take our hands out to the forward corners of our mat and turn our fingers out in a diagonal. We're going to draw our hips back, and then we're going to let our chest sink down, and our gaze is towards the floor here. So push down into the toes, and if you want to tuck your toes, that's fine too. And then draw your tailbone back and let your head hang. So your head is lower than your heart, a little bit of an inversion here. And that's again really good for encouraging your baby into the right position, especially if it's in a funky position like breech or transverse. If it isn't in one of those positions, this is just really lovely stretch for those shoulders and for the chest. And then inhale, look up, patting the hands all the way back in. Now we're going to take our knees wide and our big toes together and sit our bottom back towards our heels. Walk your hands all the way forwards towards the front edge of your mat, and now we're going to do rocking child's pose. As we inhale, we're going to lift the hips, dip them down a little bit, push into the hands, arch the spine and look up. And as you exhale, chin to chest, push out of the hands, round the spine and drop your hips back to your heels. So inhale, rocking forwards, push into the feet, dip the hips, shoulders down, look up. Exhale, push out of strong arms, round the spine, rocking all the way back. Now moving with your breath now, inhale to come forwards, exhale to come back. Another really good pose for positioning your baby. And this is a birth prep pose because you can use this pose during your labour if your labour stalls or slows down to get things moving again, or if your baby turns into a funky position in the middle of labour to help them move into the optimal position to move down through the birth canal. So this is something that you could do morning and night in pregnancy. Be really good for your spine, really good for your hips. Last one. And then from here, walking your hands back. So now we're going to come into Garland squat malasana. Tuck the toes under and push out of the hands to hop up. I'm going to show you from this direction. So from here, toes are turned out, knees are nice and wide. Roll the shoulders down the back. Push into the little toe side of your foot as much as possible, and that'll just open the knees a little bit wider. If you have the balance to take your elbows inside your knees, you can push into your hands, and that'll just gently make a little bit of extra opening into the groin there. Roll your chest nice and tall, shoulders down the back, push into every toe, and breathing here. So in this position, start to practice letting go of the pelvic floor. So allow the pelvic floor to soften in this deep, wide opening, this position. That's going to be really good prep for your second stage of labour. So trying to practice letting go through the pelvic floor, and we'll do a birthing breath here too. So we'll breathe in through the nose, but out through soft, loose lips. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, loose lips. And always on your exhale, relaxing the pelvic floor. Just two more. Last one. And then release your hands down and rock forwards to bring your knees down. So now we're going to come up into a standing kneel. Hands onto the hips, and we're just going to circle the hips here. Nice big loose hip circles. Once again, easing out the low back. Getting into the sides of the hips. And then coming all the way back to the center. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to come into a series of lunges. Start on all fours and take your right foot onto the floor and then slowly toe walk it up to the outside of your hand. If you find that the floor feels really far away, to have your hands down there, you can have those soup cans or those bricks here, and you can have your hand on them. So, toes are pointing forwards. If you're a little bit further along in your pregnancy, you might take that right foot over to the right a little bit more and turn the toes slightly out so you've got a little bit more space. And then from here, what we're going to do is scooch the right foot forwards of the knee. So the ankle is slightly in front of the knee now, and that means when we rock forwards, the knee arrives directly over the ankle. So we're rocking back and rocking forwards. And I'm going to show you from front on as well. So foot is out to the side, we're rocking back and forwards. So as you come forwards, if you're using bricks, push down into the bricks and look up. If you're using the floor, on your fingertips looking up here. So whichever position you're in, just trying to create space. And then when you're rocking back, all the toes are pushing down. So rocking lunge is really good for positioning your baby. Obviously they're creating that lovely diagonal stretch across the pelvic floor and through the internal pelvic floor and the inner leg muscles. And the next time you come forward, you're going to stay forward. And you might feel that you have a little bit deeper to go in the lunge, in which case just sink your pelvis a little bit, soften the pelvic floor, and then roll the shoulders down the back. Stay really connected to your back foot and push down into that front heel. And just watch that that front knee is pointing in the same direction as the second and third toes. So breathing here. And then we're going to take our hands up onto that knee, taking it a little bit deeper again. I'm going to take that outside arm and draw big full circles with that back arm. Just creating that space in the belly and that openness in the shoulders and a little bit of strength and resilience in the legs. then we're going to bring the hands down onto the floor, down onto the bricks. If you have those toes turned out, turn them to the front now. And we're going to take big circles. So we're just going to circle round with that hip there. So it's as if we were drawing hip circles with our pelvis. If you're using the floor, hands like this. And we're just lunging in and out with that big circular motion. And this is a really good one. You want to keep the underside of that front foot in contact with the ground. You can go as big with these circles as feels comfy for you. And then we're going to come all the way back, wiggle that foot all the way back and place it down. So this time opposite side, left foot comes forwards all the way to the outside of the hands. We wiggle the foot forwards of the knee so there's somewhere to go into the lunge, and then we rock forwards, inhale, back, exhale. Inhaling forwards, looking up, exhale, rocking back. So just make the breath be like the heartbeat of that movement. So you're moving all the time in time with your breath. And we get used to the breath informing the movement just like it will do in labour. So low and slow is the mantra for your breath. Low into the belly, nice and slow. One more time. And then staying nice and low, bring your hands up onto that knee, sink the pelvis, push into the back foot, roll the chest nice and open, outside hand coming all the way back. Big full circles. Front knees pointing in the direction of second and third toes still. One more. Then we're bringing it down through the inside, finding the floor, straightening out that front foot, and then taking those circles all the way around. Nice big moving circles. Stay in contact with your breath. And don't worry if one side feels really different to the other. You can take little circles on one side and bigger circles on the other if that's what feels right for you. And then come all the way back to the center, wiggle that foot all the way back in. And we're going to come to pregnancy downward dog. So I'll show you with the bricks and without the bricks. We're coming onto all fours, we're tucking the toes, we spread the fingers, we lift the hips, and we walk the feet as wide as the mat. Now I want you to bend your knees and push back out of your hands so you create some space between your wrists and your armpits, and really take your hips up, but keep a deep bend in your knees so the pressure is off, and let the head hang. If you're using the bricks, same thing happens. And we just have our hands on the bricks instead of the floor, and that just creates a little bit more space in the front of the chest if your belly is a little bit bigger now. So whichever position you're in, don't worry about it having to look like some traditional downward dog. Just stay in that position and then just sway those hips side to side. Getting a stretch out in those legs. Last big one. And then look forwards and walk the feet to the back of the bricks. And now we're going to turn to the side of our mat, and I'm going to get you to walk your feet really nice and wide, so lots and lots of space in the pelvis, and the big toes are very slightly turned in here. From there, either your hands are on your bricks or on the floor, you're pushed down into the feet, lifting the tailbone back, looking forwards, and as you exhale, bend your elbows to fold down and in, head hanging. And you're just going to breathe here. If it feels like there's too much pressure coming into your head, you can inhale forwards and exhale down. So it's either a moving thing or you're just hanging out in that inversion. Last one. And then come all the way up to the center. Now in this position, turn your toes out, wiggle them one place in closer and bend your knees. And we're just going to sway from side to side here. So we're gliding the hips nice and low. Again, creating that space up the internal pelvic floor and up the insides of the legs. Lots of nice wide open space in the pelvis. And then come back into the center. And now last one, we're going to lift up onto the tiptoes, so heels are nice and high, chest is forwards, hands on the floor or on the bricks or on the little soup cans. I'm breathing here. Nice big stretch up the insides of the legs, some strength for the legs, some stamina for labor. And then exhale, feet come down, wiggle them slowly all the way back in, and then we'll take one knee down and then the other. Now, we're going to come to child's pose again. So knees open nice and wide. You can take your bricks away. And you can pad your hands forwards, forehead on the ground. If the ground feels very far away, stack your fists, head onto your stacked fists. And if your baby's in breech or transverse, you're going to have your knees under your hips and your bottom in the air. And you're going to do it like this in puppy dog pose. So whichever one of those positions you're in, just breathing here. Letting the pelvis be nice and open. This is a resting pose you can use during labor too. And then release. Walk the hands all the way back in, just coming to sit back on your bottom. And we'll finish with a really gentle twist. One hand over to your knee, other hand onto the floor behind you. Push down into the front of the knees, inhale up, exhale, twist, look over the back shoulder. 2 breaths here. And then switching sides, push down into the front of the knee, down into the hand that's on the ground, pull the shoulders back, inhale, exhale, twisting just with the upper portion of your body. And then slowly coming all the way back round, inhale the arms up, exhale down, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and you're ready for your Shavasana, your relaxation. So if you are after 32 weeks, ideally you're going to lie on your left hand side now with some kind of a cushion between your knees and something under your head. If you are earlier on in your pregnancy and you still want to lie on your back, do that, but try and place a cushion under the backs of the knees just to take a little bit of pressure off. So get yourself comfortable, put some socks on or a blanket, put your top back on, make sure you're really cozy. And then once you're lying down comfortably, close your eyes. Come back to the breath, low and slow. Allow yourself just to be supported by the ground. There's no more effort now. The only thing that you have to do is relax. We bring our attention down to the soles of the feet and all of the toes. And as you exhale, let them go. Attention to the ankles and the calves. And then let them go. Attention to the knees and the thighs. And let them go. Attention to the hips and the whole of the bottom. And let them go. Whole entire length of the legs, letting go now. awareness to the belly, the rib cage, the chest, whole entire length of the front of the body, letting go. Awareness to the lower back, the mid-back, the upper back, whole entire length of your back, letting go. Tension to the shoulders and the shoulder blades. To the length of the arms, the fingers and the hands. Whole entire length of the shoulders and the arms and the hands, letting go. Awareness into the neck and the throat, the lower jaw and the pelvic floor, and then let them go. Awareness into the whole of the face and the skin on the scalp, and then letting them go. Whole entire length of your body coming into your mind's eye now. And as you breathe out with a nice big sigh, let it go. Whole body resting into stillness now. And then on your next inhalation, slowly beginning to guide your mind back towards the day. Start to wiggle into your fingers and into your toes. Recognize the yawning inhale, opening the mouth wide, releasing the face, and maybe stretching your arms up overhead or stretching out through the legs, whatever way feels good for you to stretch right now. Rolling over onto your side if you're not already there. And then very slowly pushing into your hands, keeping your eyes closed and rolling your body back up to a seated position. We'll meet with our hands in Namaste, eyes closed, and we'll rub the hands like we did in the beginning, signaling to the nervous system that we're coming back into movement, back into the day. And then each one of those warm hands comes over the eyes. Blinking your eyes open into the darkness of the hands, letting them get accustomed to the light. Inhale and grow taller. Exhale, release your hands, coming back into the room. And we'll bring our thumbs to the heart center and bow forwards and say Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you very much for joining me, everyone, and I hope